Hi guys, today we are going to do the pumpkin pie I've been talking so much about. So I've got all my ingredients out and I'm going to walk you through the steps that I do. The one thing about it is I don't have the Magic Spoon cereal now, so I can't make the crust for it yet. I'm going to have to wait till that comes and do another one with the crust for that and for the cheesecake. So today we're just going to do a pumpkin pie. It's crustless, but it's delicious. Okay, so because there is no crust, I'm going to take my pan, turn it upside down, put tin foil over it, and kind of shape it around the pan like this. Take it off, flip my pan over, put the foil down inside. It just makes it easier when you're trying to shape it to get the basic shape going. I love this scoop, this silicone scoop for getting into cans. It works great. Sometimes you're only as efficient as your kitchen tools. So I try to make sure I have easy to use things. So you're gonna do 2 cans of pumpkin. I don't do a ton of canned foods, but with the diet, I have to do some. So I'm taking a protein shake, a vanilla protein shake in place of the milk that I would use. I do 1 bottle of vanilla protein shake. I have 3 eggs that I already got out of my egg glass jar, so I'm gonna put that in. Now, if I had butterscotch skinny syrup, I'd probably put a tablespoon of butterscotch skinny syrup in here. But because I don't have any, I'm going to use my brown sugar Truvia. And I'm going to do, because the shake already has sweetener in it, I only have to do about, I'm going to do about 1/3 of a cup of packed Truvia brown sugar. So there's that. I'm going to do a splash of vanilla, and my splashes are kind of heavy-handed, but I mean, unless you pour half the bottle in, vanilla is just yummo. So there's that. Cinnamon. I love spicy. You are going to have to adjust it to your taste or follow a recipe that you know you like, that recipe that uses 2 cans of pumpkin, and use their spice blend if you want. But like, I use a teaspoon of cinnamon, and then this is my pumpkin pie spice. I buy it in bulk, so it's in a baby food jar. But I'm probably going to use 1.5 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice on top of the cinnamon. That may be too much for you. You adjust it or find a recipe, like I said, that you know you like, and use that amount of spices as long as it's about the same amount of pumpkin. So if you're only using 1 small can of pumpkin in that recipe, you might want to adjust it for that, unless you want to split this in half, and then you would just use 1 large egg and half a container of the Premier Protein or whatever brand you buy, vanilla, and then 1 can of pumpkin, and you can make a smaller one. But we all love this so much that I just make a big batch of it. And then when you calculate the points, if you don't count the pumpkin, it's like for the entire thing, 2 points just for the shake. So I personally don't worry too much about it because it is pureed pumpkin and it has fiber in it, and it's not like you're eating mashed potatoes. Pour it in. I use a cheesecake pan because I like the dimensions of it for this. And I want to say this is a 9-inch cheesecake pan, and it's easy to get it out once it's done baking. Okay, put your oven on. Bake 425 and let that get hot. When it's hot, put your pie in, or your pie, and then you're going to cook it on 425 for about 15 minutes. Then you're going to reduce the heat to 275. While I'm waiting for the oven to heat to 425, I'm going to make one more dessert that I think you guys will love, that I like to keep on hand. A box of sugar-free instant pudding. First of all, take 2 chocolate protein shakes. You pour these in first, and I'm using my Ninja bullet type thing. And I use the biggest container because it holds it all. You can do this with any, the possibilities are pretty broad with what you can do with this. The flavors of sugar-free pudding, the flavors of the shakes. You can do butterscotch with vanilla. You can do butterscotch with butterscotch. You could put pumpkin pie spice in vanilla and do vanilla shakes. You can do, there's just all kinds of things. I have the mint. Last year they had the winter mint premier protein shakes, and I did 2 of those with the instant sugar-free pudding. It's unbelievable. It is so good. And then you put your pudding on top of the 2 shakes. If you're doing it this way, you can do it by hand with a whisk. It's no big deal. You can use a blender, mixer, whatever. It doesn't matter. Put this on, but I put the pudding on the top so that when I flip it upside down, it incorporates it really well because it starts gelling pretty quick, especially if your shakes are cold. I would recommend putting in 2 scoops of Gene Pro powder to increase the protein content of this. But if you're counting points, the shakes are 2 points a piece. That's 4 points. The pudding is 3 points. So this entire thing is 5 points. I would not recommend eating the entire thing. However, you could. So I let this chill in the fridge. I have a lid that goes on top of this. Put it in the fridge. It makes a thick pudding. If you want something really thick, just use 1 shake. And you could put Cool Whip on top of that. You could put it in dessert. I have to say that for something that's so low calorie, this has been a lifesaver for me because when I was hungry, I would just scoop some pudding out. So I have a lid for this, but it was so nice to just be able to stick something in my mouth, and it has protein in it. I don't ever recommend drinking the shakes. The shakes do not fill you up. They do not sustain you when you're hungry. So instead of grabbing a shake and drinking it and being like, okay, well, that was something good to drink. Now I'm hungry. I want something solid. I always incorporate my shakes into food recipes, such as the fruit pudding that we did, the fruit salad, the pudding, pumpkin pie. I always utilize my shakes to add protein, sweetness without all the sugar. And then, you get your vitamins. I'm not saying they're good for you, but anyway, you know how I feel about that. So the oven is done. I'm going to stick my pie in there. It's on 425. I'm going to do it for, I said 15 minutes, I think. I kind of play it by ear. I do it about 15 minutes, then I turn it down to 275, probably for about another 30 to 45 minutes. I'm not precise or exact because I typically don't use recipes. I make up stuff as I go. And so I'm not real precise. I kind of play it by ear. So I apologize if I'm not being specific enough. Just follow a pumpkin pie recipe because it cooks basically like a pumpkin pie, a regular pumpkin pie. So follow a pumpkin pie recipe, whatever it tells you to do. Like with cheesecakes, it says start it out in a hot oven, then reduce it, and then cook it for a long time till it cracks. Or, I mean, you're not supposed to have cracks in a cheesecake, but I do it till it cracks because then I know it's done. And I don't care about cracks because I cover it with fruit topping anyway. So here is the pie. It's going in. This is going in the fridge. This will be ready probably in about an hour because it was not chilled when I put it in there. And then we will have desserts for a while so that I can eat. And this is stuff that, like I said, it's not like, oh, you can have a sliver of this and it's good for you. It's okay for you to eat. You can have a fourth of this and it's not going to kill you on points or your diet. So even if you're not following points, it's going to fill you up. It's going to give you the protein and it's going to keep you full for a longer period of time than just drinking a shake will do, or eating 2 Oreos. Because who wants to eat 2 Oreos? I would rather have 3 no-bake cookies than 2 Oreos, because then you're just wanting more. So that's my substitution speech for the day. Here is the pumpkin pie after I have taken it out and it has cooled some. So I'm going to unmold it, and this can get kind of messy. I'm going to leave it on the pan part, but this part, I should have sprayed it actually before I should have sprayed it with some Pam. But anyway, if I let it cool completely, like in the fridge, it would come off better, because it is coming off pretty good because it's cooled. So you can unmold this and you have a beautiful pumpkin pie. Here is our pudding. So it's thick, it holds its shape. It's very much of a pudding consistency. It actually, as it sits longer in the fridge, it will get firmer and it will be even more like pudding. So there's that. So here is our our pudding with light Cool Whip, and our pumpkin pie with light Cool Whip. So the only points that would be in this technically would be the Cool Whip. So okay guys, so I guess that'll do it for today. The pumpkin pie, if you scan a can of pumpkin with your Healthy app, it's going to tell you 6 points or 6 bites per serving. But on the Blue plan, which is basically what I'm on, the pumpkin is free. I don't count the pumpkin. And the Cool Whip, if you do light Cool Whip or light Fit and Active from Aldi's, 2 tablespoons is a point. The pudding is 5 points for the entire batch. So if you take like a cup of pudding and put it with a couple tablespoons of Cool Whip, you know, you're gonna have maybe 2.5 points. I'm not sure, I didn't break it down. And then the pumpkin pie would just be the Cool Whip. And one thing I wanted to tell you too is some people add flour or cornstarch to their pumpkin pie mixture. You could add in like a 1/4 cup of flour just to make it more custardy, to make it a little drier, because it can tend to weep a little bit. But it is really good. And when I get my Magic Spoon cereal, I'm going to be making a crust to go with the pumpkin pie. So we'll see how that turns out too. So anyway, just some really simple recipes that makes it feel like you've had a substantial dessert. Something that, you know, you can really feel fuller with, which is the goal, just to feel like you're full and you're not starving to death. So I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye.